Imagine a time when Norway was nothing but a vast icy wilderness. This was the scene around 10,000 years before Christ, following the retreat of the great ice sheets. The earliest inhabitants of this rugged terrain were hunter-gatherers, venturing northwards along the coastal areas warmed by the Gulf Stream. These brave pioneers were drawn to the rich bounty of the sea and the land. Their diet depended heavily on seafood and game, with reindeer becoming a staple food. The coastal areas, with their abundant resources, became their new home, a far cry from the icy wilderness they had left behind. As time passed, these early Norwegians began to shift from a nomadic lifestyle to a more settled existence. Between 5,000 and 4,000 years before Christ, the earliest agricultural settlements began to appear around the Oslofjord. This marked a significant turning point in the history of Norway. The land that was once a forbidding wilderness was now being tamed and cultivated. Gradually, over the course of a millennium, these agricultural settlements spread to the south of Norway. This expansion was a testament to the resilience and ingenuity of these early Norwegians. Meanwhile, those in the regions north of Trøndelag continued to rely on hunting and fishing, their lives still intertwined with the wild landscape. So from a land of ice and snow, Norway began to take shape. The journey was not easy. It required strength, courage, and an unyielding spirit. But these early inhabitants were up to the challenge. They carved out a life in this harsh environment, laying the groundwork for the Norway we know today. Thus, the stage was set for a society that would evolve into the Norway we know today. Fast forward to the 8th century, a time of bold expeditions and territorial expansion, known as the Viking Age. The spirit of adventure ran high in the hearts of the Norwegians as they set sail across the seas, their dragon-headed longships cutting through the waves. Their destinations were far and wide. The British Isles, Iceland, even the icy landscapes of Greenland were not beyond their reach. The Vikings, as they came to be known, were not just fierce warriors, but skilled traders and explorers. They ventured far from their homeland, establishing settlements and trading routes, expanding their influence across vast distances. Their legacy can be seen in the many places bearing Norse names and in the sagas that recount their voyages and exploits. Back home, the Viking Age was also a time of significant societal changes. The disparate tribes of Norway began to coalesce, forming a unified nation under a central leadership. This consolidation of power was a turning point in Norwegian history, setting the stage for the emergence of a single Norwegian kingdom. Yet, the Viking Age wasn't solely about expansion and unification. It was also a period of profound spiritual transformation. The old Norse gods began to give way to a new faith as Christianization swept across the land. By the 11th century, Norway had officially embraced Christianity, marking a definitive shift from its pagan past. The city of Nidaros, now known as Trondheim, became an archdiocese, a significant religious hub. As the Viking Age drew to a close, it left behind a rich tapestry of cultural and political changes that would shape the future of Norway. The Vikings may be remembered for their warrior spirit and seafaring prowess, but their impact on Norway extends far beyond that. They laid the foundations for a unified nation, opened up new horizons of exploration, and ushered in a new religious era. The Viking Age left an indelible mark on the cultural and political landscape of Norway. The 14th century brought with it the Black Death, a devastating plague that halved Norway's population. This catastrophic event was a grim milestone in Norway's history, leaving a lasting impact on the nation and its people. It wasn't just a matter of dwindling numbers. The plague also disrupted societal structures, economic systems, and cultural practices. Despite the devastation, Norway continued to grow and adapt. The city of Bergen emerged as the main trading port, a bustling hub of commerce and trade controlled by the influential Hanseatic League. As Bergen thrived, so did Norway, its economy buoyed by the constant flow of goods and wealth. In the political landscape, Norway entered the Kalmar Union with Denmark and Sweden in the year 1397. This union, although fraught with power struggles and conflicts, marked a significant chapter in Norway's political history. The 17th century brought further changes. The Reformation was introduced in 1537, bringing religious transformation and sparking socio-political shifts. By 1661, Norway saw the imposition of absolute monarchy, a system of governance that centralized power and authority. However, the turn of the 19th century brought Norway to a challenging crossroads. After being on the losing side of the Napoleonic Wars with Denmark, Norway was ceded to the King of Sweden by the Treaty of Kiel in 1814. This treaty, while a blow to Norway's sovereignty, was a pivotal event that would eventually set the stage for Norway's fight for independence. These centuries were marked by disease, war, and political upheaval. Yet, through it all, Norway's spirit remained resilient. The nation weathered the storm of the Black Death, navigated the complexities of political unions, and faced the harsh realities of war and loss. Despite these challenges, Norway's spirit remained unbroken. In 1814, Norway declared its independence, setting the stage for a new chapter in its history. It was a bold move, a testament to the resilience and determination of the Norwegian people. But independence didn't come easy. The international community didn't recognize this newfound autonomy. Instead, they sided with Sweden, which was asserting its claim on Norway based on the Treaty of Kiel. And so, a brief but intense war ensued between Norway and Sweden. It was a trying time, a test of the nation's mettle. But the Norwegian spirit was unbroken. The conflict ended with the Convention of Moss. Norway conceded to a personal union with Sweden, but it was not a total loss. Norway was allowed to keep its constitution and separate institutions, with the exception of the Foreign Service. This union was formalized when the extraordinary Storting, Norway's parliament, amended the constitution and elected Charles XIII of Sweden as the King of Norway. The following decades brought about significant changes. The wheels of industry began to turn in the 1840s, marking the start of industrialization in Norway. This period saw the rise of factories, the growth of cities, and the shift from an agrarian society to one centered on manufacturing and commerce. Parallel to these developments was the large-scale emigration to North America. From the 1860s onwards, thousands of Norwegians, driven by dreams of a better life, embarked on a journey across the Atlantic. This mass migration was one of the many ways in which Norway was becoming more connected with the wider world. Through all these challenges and transformations, Norway remained steadfast. It was a nation in flux, grappling with the pressures of modernity and the lingering echoes of its past. But in all of this, one thing was clear: Norway was determined to carve out its own destiny. In the face of adversity, Norway continued to forge its own path. As we delve into the 20th century, we find a Norway shaped by progress, exploration, and resilience. The dissolution of the union with Sweden in 1905 marked a significant turning point for Norway, setting the stage for a century of dramatic transformation. In the late 19th and early 20th centuries, Norwegians such as Fridtjof Nansen and Roald Amundsen embarked on exciting polar expeditions, pushing the boundaries of human exploration and putting Norway on the global map in a whole new way. These daring explorers embodied the spirit of resilience and adventure that has come to define the Norwegian character. But the first half of the 20th century was not without its trials. During the Second World War, Norway was occupied by Germany, a dark period that tested the nation's strength and resolve. Yet like a phoenix rising from the ashes, Norway emerged from the war stronger than ever, undergoing a period of reconstruction under public planning that laid the foundations for the prosperous nation we know today. A pivotal moment in Norway's modern history was the discovery of oil in 1969. This natural resource would prove to be a game-changer for the Norwegian economy, transforming it from a primarily agricultural and industrial nation to a leading global player in the oil and gas sector. By 1995, Norway had become the world's second-largest oil exporter, bringing an unprecedented economic boom and a significant increase in wealth. Yet, what sets Norway apart is not just its resource wealth, but how it has managed it. By reinvesting its oil revenues, Norway has built one of the world's largest sovereign wealth funds, ensuring the country's prosperity for generations to come. Today, Norway stands as one of the world's most prosperous countries, a testament to its rich history and resilient spirit. From its early beginnings as a nation of hunter-gatherers and Vikings, Through the trials of war and occupation, to its modern incarnation as a global leader in oil and gas, Norway's history is a powerful narrative of resilience, progress, and prosperity.